Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning to our presenters and participants. Welcome again to the International Conference of Art, Culture and Heritage, ICACH 2000. And I will be serving as your moderator for today's presentation. It's just a reminder to all of the presenters. You only be given about 10 minutes for paper presentation and 5 minutes for Q&A. And today's session is being recorded to be available for viewing post-conference. So if you have any question for the presenters, please use the chat box features in the Zoom. Without further ado, now let's please welcome our first Islamic cultural influence towards Bumiputra SME logo in Pahang, a semiotic analysis. Please welcome Dr. Muhammad Helmi Muhammad Khir from UCYP, Malaysia. Please welcome.
So, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Introduce me. My name is Muhammad Helmi bin Muhammad Khair. I'm from UCYP with my co-researcher, Prof. Madya Dr. Jamariza bin Razali from UMP and Dr. Muhammad Firdaus Mat Hussein from UCYP. So today I would like to present my research title is about the Islamic cultural influence towards Bumiputra SME logos in Pahang, a semiotic analysis. Okay. So this research is regarding the semiotic study of the use of Islamic value in the designs of Bumiputra, small and medium enterprise SMEs logos in Pahang. The visual identity of logo has always been one of the major means of expressions of social values and culture preference in particular society. Accordingly, a logo is not just a representation of a company or business. In order to fully serve its purpose, what the company does, as well as be able to echo with the social and culture. Logo design is a type of delivery symbol with a symbolic meaning that uses a simple image to express its meaning and helps to develop people's symbol recognition abilities. So the imagination and so logo should be legible, and a good logo also have to clear and easy to identify, versatile, and also unforgettable. It also forward a message and design for longevity with personality, so it can make a difference in the competition out there. All right. So since the 7th century, Islamic art is flourished and celebrate its distinctiveness and uniqueness of culture among Muslims. Due to its superb use of color and great balance between design and shape, it creates an instant visual impact with observers. The strength of Islamic art is aesthetic appeal that reflects its cultural values of the Islamic world. It is also a visual way for Muslims to see the spiritual world and the world of the universe. The Islamic art does not necessarily means a symbol of Islam, but its name Islamic due to it being the combination of artists, the creative part of Islamic philosophy and Islamic spirituality, as well as expression of people living in lands where Islam has influence on the daily life. Okay, this is an example of like Islamic icon that usually used in the logo designs. One of them is a crescent and star. Normally, it's The crescent and star is used first as a symbol of the Ottoman Empire before attaining more universally Muslim connotations. Then the second one is Rab el-Hibs. The Rab el-Hibs is used to facilitate recitation of Qurans. The symbol is also found as a number of it's a name sujud. Normally it's used in Quran. So for this research, the peers define process where is something as an object. The object is what the science represents. Interpretance for the use of science is a concept of thinking from the people who use the science and give a special meaning or meanings that people have in their minds about objects, which is referred to by the science. The most important thing in the process of semiotics is how the meaning occurs. Interpreting is the process of preserving meaning in the mind of an interpretant in semiotics. It's the effect of the science and someone who reads or comprehends it. The problem statements for this research. So nowadays, many symbols can be found around us, but sometimes the meaning are still unknown or familiar. Logo design requirements that must be culturally appropriate and highlight the desired image as well as show the actual situations or activities of the company by depicting the business objective of the organization it represents. The needs for Bumiputra SMEs in making an attractive appearance in the market to be more competitive and resilient in the market, as well as facing difficulties to compete with other especially in maintaining brand symbolism, culture, and internal communication to enable them to influence the customer. The research objective. This study was conducted to explore the meaning behind the symbols of Islamic value used in the designs of Bumiputra SME's logo, especially in Pahang. It will also explain why certain graphic elements serve as iconic visual elements on a logo. So this research will analyze the science used on Bumiputra SME logo in Pahang using semiotic analysis, using Charles Sanders Peirce's triadic theory, focusing on the representative object and interpretant in the logo. So these elements are verbal science and visual science. A qualitative method has been chosen, which is a content analysis that will describe and display how a particular icon or sign become a special element in a logo that has Islamic values from 15 sample of Bumiputra SME logos in Pahang. The qualitative research method provides more emphasis on interpretations and is providing consumers with complete views looking at context, environmental, immersion, and a depth of understanding of concept. Leong, 1991. So this research process, the theoretical frameworks, is a need in the research for the sake of clearance and aspect to give better understanding for the research review. So the firstly with the selected logo, the 15 logo selected from the Bumiputra SME logo in Pahang. Then the element, the searching of element of signs in the logo by using Peirce's triadic model regarding the representation, object, and interpretation. Then realizing of element in the Bumiputra SME logo in Pahang. Okay. So for the finding, actually for this research is still in the early stage, so I expect it to be complete in January 2022. So I hope from this research it will be able to show a certain image and symbol of Islamic art embedded in the Bumiputra SMB logo in Pahang. In so addition, look at the need for the level of awareness of Islamic arts and Islamic symbol by society in generally. So therefore, it is possible to create a new style of Islamic arts that's very easy to recognize with a good combinations of contemporary Islamic arts and commercial product can bring success to operating business, especially for the Bumiputra SME entrepreneurs, especially in Pahang. Okay, so actually that's all for my presentations today. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much to the Dr. Muhammad Helmi Muhammad Khair from UCYP Malaysia for the interesting topics regarding to the semiotic analysis. And study about the semiotic analysis always struck the interest about the signifiers, about the logos and whatsoever. So thank you for your presentation. We move to the second presenter with the title of Aesthetic of the Bidayuh Community, Kelasah, Mat in Kampung Anah Rai. Please welcome Dr. Atirah Shahira Abdullah from University Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS. Please welcome. I think you might adjust your laptop or your camera because we couldn't see your face in very clear.
Can you see me? Is it clear right now?
Oh, so I think because of the background or what?
Or maybe I should remove the
Please
background.
unmute your microphone.
Hello?
Yeah. I think there's some sort of problem, technical problem, I think. Okay, I try to unplug your earphone.
Okay.
Oh, still we're not be able to hear your voice.
Hello?
Okay, all right. It's loud and clear. Okay, you can carry on.
So my background, I need to wait.
I think you can just might change the visual background.
Okay, wait. Off.
I think it's better without the virtual background.
Yeah. Without the
without.
virtual background.
I hope you guys okay to see my background.
It's okay.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Atirah Shahira, and I am from University Malaysia Sarawak. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this conference. And today, I'm going to talk about aesthetic of the Bidayuh community, Kelasah Mat in Kampung Anah Rais. It is actually Anah Rais, not Anah Rais. And so for the introduction part, Kelasah Mat is a mat production by the Bidayuh community who have their cultural value. And Kampung Anak Rais is a village located in the foothills of the Borneo Highland in Kuching, Sarawak, and it was in district of Padawan. And in the olden days, Anak Rais is known as Kampung Senah or Senah Negeri. It was mentioned by Guri 2018, and this kampung was famous for tourist attraction, uniqueness, and originality of longhouses that was built with using bamboo. And Kampung Anak Rais has provide various of tourist activities such as homestay, handicraft, hot spring, head house, and art performing. And the researcher conduct this study using the qualitative method and interviewing the informant at Kampung Anak Rais. This is the picture for the kasah or kelasah mat. These mats are culture heritage by Bidayuh ethnic, and the quality of this mat is determined by the material used. And if the material is not of quality, the mat will be easily damaged and not durable. And the aesthetic of this product culture plays a significant influence on the material used. And Sahari and Hassan 2011 state that handicraft are defined as an activity or production activity based on hobby or individual favorite activities. But unfortunately, the younger generation lacks of interest in learning the method of weaving kasah mat has caused a big concern to a craftsman. For this research, there is 3 objectives. The first is to study the originality of the materials source used in producing the mat, and second is identify the manufacturing method and function for weaving kelasah mat, and the last is identify marketing management for kelasah mat in Kampung Anak Rais. For the methodology, this research was conducted by qualitative method and followed up by in-depth interview to obtain the data and demonstration by the informants. The researcher, there's 2 researchers, and one of them is residents of Kampung Anak Rais. It is Mr. Guest or Mr. Tony Anak Sargu and Miss Kabia Anak Makyot. And this couple are known as a farmer and kasah mat at the same time. And Mr. Tony has been made kasah mat for 30 years, and he learned kasah mat since he was in 20. And his spouse also involved in this field almost 30 years. Until now, same to Mr. Tony. And they also produce this kelasah mat as a part of their hobby and are now starting to getting involved in small scale business. For the finding is, the first is the materials. The materials are based on the forest resource, namely rattan, it is saga emas, and bayu tree, also wood. Therefore, before looking for material in the forest, the size of the kasah mat must be taken into account to facilitate the process of making the kasah mat. Like Mr. Tony said that it will take several days according to the size requested. And for the example, if the requested size is 5.5 meter times to 3.3 meters, it takes 2 or 3 days to take the materials from the forest. And the price range is about 60 to 800 and above, but depend on the size. Okay. For the tools are things that help to facilitate the process of making mats. The equipment used is made from forest resource such as trees to produce knife and others. And several things are used to produce kasah mat such as wood. In Bidayuh they call it is rigiwan, and knife is sinde. On the left side, this is the rigiwan. It was used to twist the bark, and on the right side, it is sinde for cutting the rattan and other things. Okay, next is manufacturing process. For the first process is cutting process. In Bidayuh, they said is pahit process, and this pahit process is about cutting and slicing the rattan. Like Mr. Kabir explained that the rattan is cut according to the size and shape. Later on, I will share I will share how it likes shape after this slide. Then for the next process is soaking process. The bark or bayou, the bayou tree will be cut the appropriate measurement and soaked in the water at least in 1 minute. And after that, the bark is twisted using the riguan. This is because Mr. Tony said that this process is done to soften the bark so it can be easily for the weaving process. Okay, this is the rattan. On the left side, this is they call male rattan. Male rattan is a little bit curved like V, and the female rattan is only straight. The purpose is to differentiate the rattan that has been cut so it can be easily for the following process. Weaving process, they call it is wiri. Okay. Weaving process. Next is weaving process. Wiri is the rattan weaving process that has been divided according to the gender of rattan, like I mentioned before. And the process requires both sides of length to hold the rattan to ensure the condition of the woven rattan is parallel and neat. This is Mr. Tony doing the weaving part. And for the fourth part is binding process. Okay, after weaving the rattan, tie the rattan using the bark. It is bayou that has been twisted with rigiwan at the end of that rattan. This is to make it more secure. Next part is the function of kasahmet. As I mentioned before, kasahmet is a handicraft heritage of the Bidayuh community that has been inherited from generation to generation until now. The art of weaving is still used in the daily life of community, and based on description of Ms. Kabia, this mat has various of function. It is to use dry the padi because the Bidayuh community also does the agricultural activities, and it was used for festive season, especially for the Gawai Dayak festival. And this mat used as a sitting mat for the guests who come. And the kasah mat also serve as a home decoration such as doormat and floor mat. Okay, on this is the floor mat, and down here is to dry the padi. Okay, for the marketing management, Mr. Tony and his wife, Miss Kabia, are the maker for the production of this kasamet. They sell this kasamet to others community, but they also teach tourists interested in learning how to make kasamet. They market this product on a small scales and only rely on others. For the marketing activities, this mat were done through the Facebook and also the official website of Kampung Anarais and Sarawak Tourism website, and also TripAdvisor. Kampung Anarais is also known as they do also some homestay activity, and so indirectly they market the kasah mat and also promote the mat artistic value. For this discussion part is, for the first thing is authenticity of material source used in the producing the kasah mat. There is the informant focus on the originality of resource that has made from nature. The main material they have been used is only rattan, pokok bayu tree, and also the wood. This is because to ensure the product durability in the long term and to prevent from damage, and they want to put the high quality material that compared to Kasahmet by Kampung Srikin. They use plastic as the primary material. For the second part is manufacturing method and function Kasahmet. From the data that that researcher get, the production of Kasahmet requires a high degree patience and takes a long time to produce such cultural product. And Mr. Tony mentioned that Kasahmet was used to dry the padi since a long ago, but in new era, Kasahmet was using as a home decoration, like sitting, floor mat, doormat. No. And for the marketing part, Kampung Anah Rais is a tourist center, and the village provides various exciting activities such as hunting, padi planting, traditional dance, performance, and weaving activities. With activities provided in the village, Mr. Tony and Miss Kabia Abidayu community are also involved in weaving activities since a long ago. Then instead of that, they're also involved in tourism activities. But in terms of marketing, there is a lack of promotion, makes the arts of Kasahmet less attractive to buyers. So researchers suggest that they need to join any festival or event that related to arts and culture to attract the potential buyer. And also the Kasahmet production, that the economy in the tourism sector in Sarawak can be improved, such as intent those private travel agency, NGO, and the government to help the promotion. Actually, this marketing activity were handled by village head. They only produce the product, or whoever visited at the tourist came to the village will directly order with them. But for the rest of the management were handled by village head. So if customer needs to, they need to pre-order because there is no stock, ready stock available in their shop. Okay, for the conclusion, nowadays, Kasahmet is less popular among the youngster because of trending factors such as digitalized influence. So the production process of Kasahmet requires a high quality, high perfection, and finishing to maintain the quality of the product and to enhance the aesthetic of Kasahmet. And the community needs to emphasize the knowledge of this skill in producing this handicraft product in order to produce skill generation of this handicraft skill. This is my reference. That's all from me. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you to the Miss Atira Shahira Abdullah for very interesting topic. It's always interesting to us to getting know more about. It's a good research.
Thank you.
Again, to all the presenter and participants, if you have questions regarding the presentation, please feel free to drop your question in the chat box. So now we move to our third presenter for today's, with the title Crowd Creation and Inclusive Heritage through the Digitization of Architectural Heritage. Please welcome Darussalam.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, thank you very much for these wonderful presentations. I should proceed to my presentation. I'm here on representation of a research group that I'm leading that includes also Dr. Asia Kompo and Dr. Chester Kisbury, and also a research assistant, Nurul Kamalia. This is a presentation that is based on a current research project that we are working on, and is expected to be completed by October 2022, which involves the digitization of architectural heritage in Brunei, and the construction and the build of a platform that is meant for the safeguarding of and management of architectural heritage in Brunei, and then also for the creation of educational e-learning contents, as well as providing content, digital content for tourism development. The presentation that I'm about to do basically considers two concepts, which is crowd curation as a method or as an approach to have a more inclusive heritage management. And this is made through the digitization of architectural heritage. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay. Cultural and architectural heritage are fundamental expressions of cultural identities as buildings, and the built heritage entails not only the construction of structures or human-made structures, but they are also inclusive and deal with the other intangible expressions of cultural identities, principles of social values, and religious beliefs. And they also stand as carriers of collective memories of local communities, and they also represent more universal values, that they are beyond the limited locations of the communities. So these architectural structures should be interpreted as an artifact that is also a dynamic, or is involved in a intensive dynamics in the formative process of cultural expressions, because they deal with intangible knowledge and intangible cultural heritage, because the buildings are not structures on its own, but they are representations of social values and cultural values. So it is basically the core of these dynamics between the architectural structures, the urban space, where the buildings are inserted in a way, or located, and also the multiple forms of community experience of these urban spaces and these buildings. This interaction with the urban space is a core element of what is defined as urban heritage, all right? Because these buildings have meaning, they have significance in a sense of, for example, annual festivals, to celebrate historical events, for example, and also to other forms of intangible expressions. And one of these examples, for example, is from a very recent literature festival that is going on a second edition this year. That is the Tiny Lit Fest. That is basically a community-led festival with publishers and writers and so on. And last year, for example, they led an immersive historical walk where they were basically going through storytelling and the exploration of these intangible heritage that is associated with the urban space and also with the architectural heritage, because the buildings are a representation of these historical legacies. And then this is where the community is considered as a custodian of the heritage, and not necessarily the typical cultural institutions such as museums and government agencies and things like that. So we see that, for example, with the development of information to communication technology and other forms of visualization of architectural heritage, that sometimes is still existent, and sometimes these historical buildings, they did not survive through the passage of time. They were destroyed for some reason, sometimes through wars, natural disasters, and sometimes also because they were not preserved adequately and survived throughout the time. So technology allows us to reconstitute these layers of history through images, such as, for example, integrated augmented reality in a certain location where we can revive historical photographs, for example, or we can simulate or emulate virtual reality, and we can rebuild these spaces, and therefore we are also rebuilding the experience and the knowledge that we have about these locations and about these buildings. That is, in terms of interpretation, a form of connection between the audience and these forms of heritage, because there is always the input of the audience and the knowledge that is on the possession of the audience and the public, not necessarily just in a custody of intellectuals and heritage experts. So with these technologies, we have nowadays one of the most simplistic ways of safeguarding of architectural heritage is documentation. We make inventories of buildings, and then we make these data available through databases and online resources. Of one of the greatest examples when we are specifically talking about Islamic architectural heritage is the ArchNet that is maintained and developed by MIT. One of the forms that technology has been enabled us to visualize and experience digitally architectural heritage is through the digitization. And this digitization has been done through LiDAR scanning, which is very expensive and time consuming because you use laser beams to basically digitize and scan the buildings and architectural structures. But then more recently, and allow us to build and reconstruct these buildings. And the importance of digitization of architectural heritage is it comes to a higher point when we recall the unfortunate burning of the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, that a few months or years back was fully digitized. And now we have that data that will allow us to rebuild and reconstruct accurately the cathedral based on that data. So that is the relevance of moving on with the digitization of architectural heritage. It's not just for the sake of intangible heritage and the meaning and the value of these buildings to our communities and also a global humanity, but it is also essential for ensuring the safeguarding and preservation of these monuments. More recently, experts have been exploring other ways of digitizing through aerial photogrammetry, which basically uses a drone that will basically take multiple photographs of the buildings from different angles and different altitudes and so on. And then we can data process these images, and then we will be able to build 3D modeling structures of these buildings by using these hundreds of photographs from these buildings. And this is how it works. So the drone will fly around the buildings in different altitudes. It will go up in a spiral, for example, and then we have the data. And then it's basically the software makes a collage of all these data, and then it will allow to build a 3D model. So the buildings here in Brunei, we have buildings of different categories. We have governance buildings, ministries, legislative councils, and which basically represents political power and political authority, which is one of the elements of identity of societies, not only in Brunei but worldwide. And then we also have religious buildings that are also an expression of religious identities, and they are at the same time they can be interpreted as political statements, but they are also places of worship and religious experience, and they tell us about, for example, the functionality of these buildings tell us about the particularities of religious experience in different locales, even within the same religion, for example, where we find, for example, expressions of cultural elements in religious performance, that they are different, for example, between Brunei and Saudi Arabia, because Brunei lives in the Malay world, has its own Malay culture, and then there is these elements of Malay culture that they are embedded in religious expressions as well. And then we have also civil architecture, residential buildings and palaces, for example, in Brunei. And then we have a wide range of typologies, and therefore we have a wide variety of forms and shapes and functionalities, according again with cultural expressions in the experience of the communities with the architectural spaces, where resides these layers of intangible cultural heritage that through the analysis of these structures, we are allowed to know better the knowledge and the functionality of these specific elements that we find in specific types of civil architecture. So, and that is basically brings us to the point. And then we also have archaeological and historical sites that they, most of them, they don't exist anymore. They perish throughout the time. And through technology and through different means of visualization, we are now able to reconstitute and to revive these forms of experience of place and expressions of knowledge. So with the democratization of culture and knowledge and an increasing inclusive society that we have been experiencing over the last 50 years, the conventional heritage institutions have been empowering the communities. We see this in terms of managing of arts and managing of culture and heritage. And we see that there is a current demand from the community, and the museums and cultural institutions have been responding to this demand from the community, as they are by right the custodians of heritage, right? So that we see this claim, we see these dynamics of claim, and technology actually has been responsible to this increasing perception that cultural institutions are responsible to keep the physical integrity of to create mechanisms towards the safeguarding of cultural heritage, but it is to the communities that has the role to continue the preservation, the communication, and the transmission of knowledge associated to cultural heritage. And this is much more evident when we talk about intangible cultural heritage. So it is here at this point in this entangling and a meeting point between cultural institutions and the community that we find the concept of crowd curation, in which defines or assumes that the conventional role of the curator as a knowledgeable individual capable of interpreting and communicating heritage and as a custodian of culture is now gradually being given to an active participation of the community through the processes of crowdsourcing data. What does it mean? It means that most of the information and the knowledge about heritage is sourced from the community itself, because they are the custodians of this heritage. They are the knowledge holders for generations, particularly when we have, when we deal with intangible and this the intangible heritage that is associated with urban space and also with architectural built environment. Some examples have been done about how do we source. There are different ways of sourcing or doing crowdsourcing data for architectural heritage. And this can be done in two ways. One is through a direct participation, which involves a call for submissions, for example, submission of photographs of the public preferred buildings, locations, objects, and so on. And they will deliberately participate in this. They will express what they recognize as their heritage. And through this process, we have a way more accurate and authentic identification. What does the community esteems as their own heritage, rather than being at a position of a heritage expert that will dictate what does the community acknowledges has their own heritage, which is very crucial to these forms of interpretation of heritage. Then there is also an indirect participation, which means that heritage experts are going to collect data and do data analysis through online information, such as social media posts. We see what are the community concerned about, what are their perspectives, what are their views, through like Instagram posts. What are the buildings that they post the most, for example? What are the places where tourists go the most? And why are they going there? What kind of stories they are looking for? And through the analysis of these data, through like Reddit discussions, through like community space and urban space activities, annual festivals, data mining from tourists, and image depositories, for example, where people take photographs of places and then they post these online for the appreciation of others and so on. We have data that we can analyze, and then we can get to a closer perception of what does the community, local and global communities, esteem as heritage, as something that is of value for us to preserve, to continue, and to take care of. So this is basically the processes of crowdsourcing that leads to the crowd curation, which means that we are basically, heritage experts are going to collect this data, either directly or indirectly, from the community, from the audience, and then they will basically collaborate through these means with the audience to curate platforms of engagement with heritage. Either that is through physical exhibitions or through the creation of online exhibitions or online databases and sources of knowledge that becomes depositories of cultural heritage. And that is basically what we are trying to build, and how we consider that crowd curation is probably the most inclusive, the most participative, and the most engaging, and therefore leading to a more authentic collective heritage experience, knowledge, and interpretation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you to the Assistant Professor Rui Olivera Lopez for your quite interesting research. I think your research is quite similar to my research. When we are looking about the iconic shapes, and you're talking about the heritage architecture and so on. And I have one question for you. You know,
can you hold on a second so I can grab my laptop charger?
Oh, okay.
Battery is very low. Wait a second. Okay. Okay,
All right.
so sorry. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. It's just a simple question. I think conserving the unprotected architectural heritage and site is ensures that the survival of the community and the survival of the country. And in your presentation just now, you're talking about the augmented reality, the AR, the technology itself. But based on your opinion, how about the acceptance of AR, especially in our region, in the Southeast Asia itself?
I think that technology is just like kind of a knife. You understand what I mean? It can be something that is very useful, but at the same time, if you don't use it properly and adequately, it can be a disaster, right? I am of the opinion that we should utilize technology to the best of our convenience, and that's it. We should not rely absolutely on technology to experience life and to experience heritage and to deal with things that are human, right? So it's just like when we go on a vacation, I take very few photographs because I feel that I experience and I enjoy very much if I'm looking things and experience things through my eyes, through my senses directly, without a filter of a camera in front of my eyes all the time when I'm taking pictures. And then I have that on my memory, and I think that is way better than taking photos and spending all the time taking photos that I'm not going through them anymore, ever again, most of the times. And it's the same with like cell phones and everything. They are wonderful for us to communicate with other people, but then we see people like sitting together in restaurants and they don't talk with each other because they are all in their phones and things like that, right? So I think that we need to be balanced and utilize whatever augmented reality, virtual reality, whatever, as much as we get what we need. And then when we get what we need, we go back to our humanity and we enjoy that, rather than relying so dependently on technology. And then when the technology fails, which actually fails a lot, we don't know what to do. Like, for example, you probably already had experience, and I've done some research about how technology is applied in museum curation. And how many times have we been going to museums and we see like all these touch screens and so on, and they all say the same thing, rosak, right? And then when we feel so frustrated when we try to do something, like the touch screen actually does not recognize our touch. And then how do we feel about that? We have a bad experience, right? So it can be an advantage, but if it is actually bringing that advantage, and many times actually not bringing that advantage because we relied completely on that. And that is a problem.
Okay, thank you, Assistant Professor Rui Oliveira Lopez, for your wonderful answer. I think it's true what you're talking about. Maybe we can collaborate for some research.
Sure. Yeah.
In the future. Okay, thank you again to the Assistant Professor Rui Oliveira Lopez from University Brunei Darussalam. We're moving to our next presenter with the title Positioning Pekan Pahang as Tourism Heritage Center through Local Historical. I think this is a video presentation from Nur Shahidatul Amira, UCYP Malaysia.
Okay, a very good afternoon to all of the judges and also participants. So my name is Nur Shahidatul Amira binti Sukefli. On behalf of my team, which is the second author is Norbayanti Abu Bakar and also Jamal Riza Razali. So our title today is about the positioning Pekan Pahang as tourism heritage center through local historical. So the research background, these are the Pekan Bandar Diraja, which is it's about the Pekan in Pahang, which is these are the signature in Pekan. So we proceed to the next one, which is Pekan Pahang is the royal town of the Malaysia state of Pahang Darul Makmur according to Jama Parudin 2018, and also Pekan is also the name of the district the town is situated in and parliamentary constituency in its own right. And also tourism heritage center permeates the experience of visitor to Pekan Pahang, whether as a backdrop and setting or a direct experience combined with the culture, tradition, food, local historical artifacts and story from the past to provide rich multi-layer experience, according to Mustafa 2003. Move on to the next one. So these are the location. It's about the Pahang, which is the light yellow, which is in Pahang we have the Endau Ropin National Park, Kuala Lumpur Endau, and also Pekan, Kuantan, Besorah, Cerating, Sungai Lembing, Kuala Tembiling, Kuala Tahan, National Negara National Park, Kuala Lipis, Cameron Highland, Fraser Hill, Bentong, Genting Highlands, and Mentakap and Temerloh. These are some of the districts in Pahang. Then the economy activities which is in Pekan Pahang is for the farm-based industry, agriculture factory, automotive factory, civil servant, which is include the supportive and management team, and also of course for each of the states in Malaysia, we will have the small entrepreneur, which is including all the retails, homestays, or the hospitalities, which is include also with the F&B industry and many more. So these are the basic economic activities in Pekan Pahang. Moving on to the next one, which is the overview Eco's Economy Region, ECER, which is these are the focusing on the Pekan itself, about the Pekan Peramu, which is the Eco's economic region covered in the culture heritage tourism, automotive industrial park, handicraft village, Tanjung Agas Maritime Industry Hub, Tanjung Agas Free Zone. So these are some of the activities in the Pekan Peramu. So the next one, the research objective of this research paper. The first one is to study the positioning Pekan Pahang as tourism heritage center through local historical artifact. So basically, the first one we are focusing on the historical artifact. The second objective is to develop an outline requirement to upgrade positioning heritage tourism center, which is about the heritage tourism center. Then these are the method which is we are conducted throughout the research, which is we using a mixed method methodology framework, which is include the qualitative, archival data, quantitative. So qualitative is involving with the observation we conducted for the first research objective, and also visual analysis throughout the historical artifact, and also we did an interview session with the expert from the local in Pahang, and also the archival data is involving how we get all the references from the literary review, journal, books, online, and articles. So quantitative is, of course, is about the survey involving the questionnaire, which is our respondent is in the Pekan Pahang for 70%. So then after that, we combined all of the methods to find the visual analysis, which is the preliminary survey, and also the visual analysis, which to get the findings to develop an outline requirement to upgrade positioning heritage tourism center. So after that, then we can conclude and get the recommendation for this research method. Then moving on, these are the visual data, which is Lebam Building Castle, but now these are a very historical place, but now we are maintaining as the public libraries, which is all the public people can come and see this place. Then the next one is the Watercraft Gallery, which is this very center point, very famous place in Pekan Pahang, which is all the craftsmen about the yacht, about the everything about the craftsmen. It's in Waterfront Gallery. Then moving on to the Pekan Riverfront, this is also one of the spot which is very famous in Pekan, which is normally tourism come here to take a picture because it's nearby the river of Pahang. Then the next one is Sultan Abu Bakar Museum. These are the very beautiful place, which is the museum, which is they are still maintaining as the center point in Pekan Pahang. These are the important artifacts that which is we need to maintain to attract the tourism and also for the young generation. And also another one is Sultan Abdullah Mosque, and also these are the Lake Chini, which is about along the way for people who are coming through to Pahang, they will going pass through to the Lake Chini. And also these are the Royal Pahang Seed Weaving Center. So these are about the craftsmen where all the locals they are producing all the Pahang silk, all the tenun, batik, and so on. So for the findings and discussion, so these are the results. So these have been made through the methodology discussed. It's about the destination most visited in Pahang area. So we have conducted around 70%. So these are mostly the visited place in Pahang, which is Genting Highland are the most visited place, while for Pekan Pahang, there's only a medium, which is people are not really not really visit to the Pekan Pahang. So 40% for the 70 respondent said that they choose Cameron Highland because they have a many reason behind it to make their decision to choose Cameron Highland. One of the reason is considered because Genting Highland is considered to most beautiful place to be visited. 24% of the response positive to select Pekan Pahang, one of the destination to visit, that they desire to know what are the available in Pekan Pahang. And 70% of the responses select Bukit Gambang, 90% make a decision to choose Genting Highland, and 3% respond to produce other country that they want to visit it. Then these are the next one, which is representing the data, which is the blue one is the local tourists, which is involving all the audience participate in the survey. And also we have a permanent resident in the Pekan Pahang, and also the purple one is from the Kuantan base, and also the red one is overseas tourists. So the result, 70 respondents, 54% of them are local tourists, as I mentioned just now. So the specific is from the Johor, Kelantan, Sabah, and Terengganu, which is they visit in Pahang. 3% of them are overseas tourists represented from Nigeria and United States of America. And the less than 60%, they are permanent resident at Pekan Pahang, and while 27% they are from Kuantan. So moving on to the next one, which is this is about the investigate, identify knowledgeable respondent about Pekan Pahang. So we want to know, is it all the respondent they are having the knowledge about Pekan Pahang. So 80% of them, they will find out that Pekan Pahang, whereas they did not have a good enough knowledge about the Pekan Pahang. And there were many reasons given by the respondent. Among the respondents stated that the respondent identified Pekan Pahang as the royal city when they discover the beauty and the something unique. It also increased their knowledge when they come to visit to Pekan Pahang because of the historical artifact, and the town is full of the historical and high expectation will become one of the main tourism attraction. Pekan Pahang will remain as a historical district filled with the tradition. Not necessary to be modern town, retain existing is good enough. These are basically about all the Pekan Pahang where we need to get the opinion from the audience. So these are the final one, which is the conclusion and recommendation. The conclusion is the objective and hypothesis of the study have really helped in giving direction to the analysis and interpretation. As per analyze in finding, it can be concluded that there are positive signs toward positioning Pekan Pahang as a heritage tourism center through local historical artifact as having the potential to be upgraded. So these are some of the recommendation, suggestion for future improvement to upgrade position Pekan Pahang, a tourism heritage center. We need to have the regulate tourism activity, work harder on the infrastructure development, improve its capacity, environment to be attractive by preserving local historical artifact resources. So the corporate image identity should be strengthened to preserve the image and identity of Pekan Pahang as to give a clear vision of tourism destination, competitive and tourism heritage center development. I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay, thank you for the presentation to the Shaidatul Amira with the research about positioning Pekan Pahang as a tourism heritage center through local historical. We move to our next presenter with the title A Review on Comparison between Malaysian batik motif and its Indonesian counterpart. I would like to welcome Dr. Roshida Abdul Majid from University Technology Malaysia.
Can you hear me, Mr. Moderator?
Yes, loud and clear, Doctor.
Okay. Hold on. I think I need to play the presentation mode. Okay, yeah. All right. First of all, thank you very much to the Mr. Moderator, Dr. Muhammad Firdaus. Thank you also to the organizer, yeah, University College Yayasan Pahang. I hope that I can be there one day. Very new to me. Okay, so as you mentioned just now, my name is Roshida binti Abdul Majid, and I am from Faculty of Built Environment and Surveying, yeah, University Technology of Malaysia. So basically, I am the academicians with the background of architecture. So nothing much to do with the batik actually, but this is just based my interest, yeah. So that's why I proceed with these research grants, yeah, together with my colleagues from the Malang University, yeah, Dr. Pujianto. Right, I think yeah, we can say that batik is very synonym to every one of us, yeah, especially the ladies, yeah. We will wear batik every day, like my mother, hari-hari, like hari batik. Okay, so of course, it's due to the comfort, yeah, very convenience, yeah, and of course, you can wear batik. It's very flexible, yeah. So we can choose whatever kinds of methods, yeah, when we wanted to wear batik, yeah, especially the sarongs. Okay, I'm sure, yeah, Dr. Muhammad Firdaus, yeah, maybe you have this experience using batik during your childhoods, yeah. Okay.
I'm wearing batik right now.
Yes. Thank you very much for appreciating our traditional fabrics. Yeah, I think we should appreciate batik very much. Yeah, but normally for the younger generations, yeah, we less seeing them wearing batik. But hopefully after this, yeah, we will wear batik and try to engage the young generations, yeah, to wear batik as well. Okay, a little bit on the background. Yeah, batik is originate from Indonesia. Everyone knows that, yeah. If we can trace back to 700 years ago, yeah, where the Majapahit kingdom was ruled by Prince Wijaya from 1294 to 1309, yeah. And today, batik has been recognized by UNESCO as a masterpiece of oral and intangible heritage of humanity for Indonesia. Batik actually was brought from Java to Malaysia in the 15th century, early 19th, yeah, and is also considered as an important cultural heritage in Malaysia. Batik has been the national and cultural assets for both countries, yeah, Malaysia and Indonesia. But the exploration on the differences of batik from each country is still limited, causing confusion and reclamation of this shared cultural product for generations. Yeah? So basically, I can say that there are confusions on the batik motif, Malaysia and also Indonesia. This is due to the lack of knowledge and education on local batik motif. So the objective of this paper is actually to understand the batik motif differences and similarities on both Malaysian and Indonesian batik. Right. So due to the literature review, it is said that motif is defined as a decorative image or design that can occur once or in the form of repeated patterns. You can see on the photos, yeah, is batik blocks or batik chops, yeah, and normally they will repeat the patterns, yeah, on and on to form one complete fabrics. Okay, for this research, yeah, in terms of the methodology, I had selected and reviewed a few scientific papers and doctoral theses on Malaysian and Indonesian batik motif from 1995 to 2021. And the studies as recent as 2021 are selected for content analysis to ensure the relevance of the study. As you can read in the tables, yeah, there are about 7 publications and the authors are Ahmad Dawa, Rianti, Legino, Kari, Yuniawan, Syed Shahabuddin, and they are all the most significant people who did carry the research on batik motif. So this is based on my findings. You can see that there are 5 main factors of batik motif comparison. So firstly is the floral, secondly is the fauna, thirdly geometric, fourth the cosmic, and the last one is the delicacies. Yeah. So these are actually the factors that influence the making of batik motif. Right. So for the floral motif, we can differentiate the Malay batik and also the Indonesian batik by looking into the color and also the images. Yeah, the color of the flora patterns for Malaysian batik are bright and very colorful in compared to the Indonesian batik. Yeah, and in fact, if you can see in terms of the image for the pattern, for Malaysian batik, pucuk robong is the most predominant flora motif. Yeah? And various image of pucuk robong with common symbolism from the old Malay saying, jika meluntur buluh, biarlah di waktu rebungnya. Yeah, so I think this saying is very, very famous in Malaysia, and this is how we depict it in the batik motif for the Malaysian batik. And for the Indonesian batik, yeah, the coastal batik is influenced by the external culture from the Netherlands through the European flower bouquet motif, while the inland batik, batik pedalaman, is influenced by the surrounding environment such as palm fruit, yeah, which is known as kawung. So if you wanted to see it clearly, so please look at the photos below. Right. And then next is fauna motif. Yeah, in the Malaysian batik, the fauna motif is adapted seamlessly into the overall geometric compositions. Yeah, whereas for the Indonesian batik, the fauna can be found as the main motif of batik pesisiran. So for the Indonesian batik, the image of fauna is distinct with distinguishable characters. Other common fauna motif are butterfly, phoenix, eagle, bird, fish, four-legged animals, and snakes. Yeah, the fauna motif is adapted from the Chinese culture in Indonesia. Whereas if you look at the Malaysian batik, yeah, the image of fauna is highly stylized due to the Islamic setting forbids the image of living creature. So the fauna motif is usually small in scale to show the relationship between the flora and fauna in nature. So next is the geometric motif. Yeah. So how can you see the difference between Malay batik and Indonesian batik? By looking at this geometric motif. Yeah. So if you look at Malaysian batik, the geometric motif is widely used in Malaysian batik. Yeah. And of course, it is in line with the Islamic arts. Yeah. Right. And for the Indonesian batik, generally the geometry patterns are decorative motifs that contain elements such as lines and shapes like slash, square, rectangular, trapezoid, rhombus, parallelogram, circle, and star. And they are arranged repetitively so that they consist of ceplok pattern or ceplokan or slash pattern, as you can see in the image below. And then next is the cosmic motif. So for the Malaysian batik, the cosmic motif presented through the star as the filler motif on the central panel of batik clothes. The composition of pucuk rebung represents hilly areas, and it is scattered to signify the starry sky. And for Indonesian batik, the mega mendong is adapted from Chinese culture, where it is taken from various literature and the ceramics fabrics that brought up to the region, which had the pattern of clouds. Yeah, the concept of the cloud also influenced the Islamic world of the 16th century, used by Sufis for the expression of the great world or the outdoors. Last but not least is the delicacies. So for the delicacies, as you can see, it is not that very significant for the Indonesian batik, but it is presented well in Malaysian batik. You can see from the photos and from the diagrams, the diamond shape of glutinous rice, which we call it wajik, was brought during sailing in ancients as source of energy. The shape was adapted onto songket fabric and batik as more affordable alternative. Okay, so based from the findings, I can say that there are four main elements that influence the batik motif and create the difference between Malaysia and Indonesia. Firstly is the flora. Secondly is the fauna, yeah, the motif of fauna. Thirdly is the colors, and lastly is the elements of the batik motif. So I think from this research, what I can conclude is that batik is a significant cultural fabric that needs to be preserved, as it reflects a strong local identity of the regions. So batik also is to strengthen the culture with the informative and hands-on activities need to be disseminated throughout the society. So if you can see in the photos, yeah, this is one of the activities, batik activities conducted in UTM, led by me, which is in 2016. Yeah, so we managed to have a workshop and officiated by Duli Yang Maha Mulia Raja Zari Sofia. And of course, we are very honored to have that kinds of activities. And on the right, on the left below is the batik activities performed by my colleagues in Malang, Indonesia. So he did produce a pattern, namely Indonesia. Yeah, so he called his batik by this name, Indonesia, yeah, to actually represent the batik that belongs to not just Indonesia, but also Malaysia. So last but not least, of course, I would like to say that the new batik pattern with reference to the local culture and symbolism need to be designed appropriately in order for batik to be very relevant through times. Yeah. With that, I end up my presentation. Thank you very much, and back over to you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to Dr. Rashida for your very insightful research about batik, and it is a quite surprise that you are from the other area of art and design, which is
Yeah.
from the built environment, I think. Yeah, you
Yes.
are from faculty built environment,
Yeah.
UTE.
My
You'll be able
background
to
is
explain.
architecture. Yeah.
Yeah, in architecture, you will be able to explain the batik like you are from the faculty art and design. So
Thank you.
you earn my respect, doctor. So
Thank you.
I think we have one question here. How about, do you think about Malaysian textile industry?
All right. In compared to Indonesia, Malaysian industry of batik, this is based on my perception and based on my what I see. Yeah. We focus more on batik canting actually, and batik canting, the price is very expensive, so not everyone can afford to buy batik cantings. Yeah, so maybe for the Malaysian industry, batik industry, yeah, if possible, we can concentrate also more on the batik blocks or batik chops. Yeah, because if you look at the Indonesia, yeah, they focus more on batik block or batik chop, and of course, these methods, yeah, allow them to produce a lot more, or they can have a huge production for this batik, and of course, due to this, yeah, the product, this fabric can be much more cheaper, yeah, compared to the batik canting. So if I would like to suggest, yeah, maybe for the Malaysian industry, if we can, yeah, try to focus to a methods that can produce more batik so that we can reduce the price and make it available to everyone to buy. Yeah, because if you can go to anywhere, yeah, in the shopping complex, if you see batik, mostly in Malaysia, the price is very, very high. So that is my point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your answer, Dr. Rashida. So I just read one comment here from Dr. Dewi Pratiwi. Dr. Rashida, here in Indonesia, younger generation now are familiar to wear batik since the model creation of batik are created casually. Yeah, makes sense.
Yes,
We should
yes.
be able to apply here in Malaysia.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you, Dr. Rashida.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
Thank
we're
you very
moving
much.
to our next presenter with the title Promoting Kelantan Cultural Heritage Through Digital Illustration. Please welcome Ruziani Mat Nasir alias Muhammad Nasir from University Technology Mara, Kelantan.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all of you. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you so much to Mr. Moderator and all of the team from the conference for giving me an opportunity to be one of the presenter today. Today for my presentation, I will talk about the promoting Kelantan cultural heritage through digital illustration. So as you can see here on screen, for the research background, basically Kelantan Darul Naim is a state that blessed with a lot of tourist attractions such as exclusive and unique with art experience and activities, mouth-watering local and traditional dishes, the oldest tropical rainforest, and surrounded by friendly nature of local people. Okay, basically, half of the east coast facing the South China Sea and the land bordering Thailand in the north, Kelantan State is also well endowed with a rich natural heritage that is certainly a bouquet for the eye. Okay, so Kelantan tangible and intangible heritage is recognized not only for its uniqueness, but also for its realistic traditional definition of art in Malaya. So there is a lot of Malaysian heritage, I believe, to have originated from Kelantan, while they are later known as Malay heritage. As stated by the Star 2017, Kelantan is regarded as the cradle of Malay culture. So as you can see here, there is a Kelantan map. All right, move forward. So according to the Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture, MOTAC, Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri, the both artists and the local community can contribute to the preservation and development of its cultural heritage. Okay, the younger generation could also help by promoting the arts to the global community through use of social media. Okay, they can use their digital technology skills to promote the many tradition art form to global audience. Okay, various cultural performance can be found in Kelantan, such as shadow puppet, or also known as wayang kulit, mak yong, menora, and dikir barat, as well as traditional games that are fully designed, as we all knows, Wau Bulan and also the gasing. Okay, besides, Kelantan also recognized by its own batik painting, songket weaving, and the making of other local handicraft. And there's a lot of uniqueness in Kelantan culture. Craft and heritage bring excitement for tourist attraction, according to Sufahani, Ismail, and Muhammad. All right. So for the research problem in my research, there is a few that I already discovered. First thing first, a lack of advertisement and promotion activities may have affected the tourist market, as indicated by the lower budget allocated for the last few years. And the second one, according to Abdullah Hanaisha and Abdul Ghani, in order to make advertising more successful, it is necessary to ensure the creativity and originality of advertising campaign in a way that can attract viewers toward the message they want to promote. And according to the Star 2017, for the Visit Kelantan Past Year initiative, the state government has got its marketing strategy all wrong. The State Museum Action Council claim. And the image of tourism influenced the quality of a visit perceived by the travelers. The promotion and brand of the culture heritage is not widely known, according to Adib, Rahman, and Suzuki in 2018. And last but not least, according to Nasir and Saleh, with the full contribution of state, private agencies, and the media, the approach to promoting new tourism products should be improved internationally. And a variety of promotion methods are encouraged to improve repeat visit by tourists in the field of new tourism product. All right, so the research objective, the first one is to study what type of Kelantan cultural heritage is the most popular and the main subject to portray as a symbolization of Kelantan state. And the second one, to analyze what type of digital illustration are suitable to illustrate as the subject matter in the advertisement. And the third one is to propose digital illustration to portray Kelantan heritage in the advertisement. All right, so the research is significant for this study. Basically, particularly to Kelantan heritage, first and foremost significant of this study is illustrating the new approach of Kelantan May attraction into an advertisement in order to promote the heritage. Okay, the lack of previous existing advertising in promoting Kelantan cultural heritage will be improved, inshallah. So therefore, this research highlight the latest visual communication using digital illustration in advertising, especially to convey a message and attract tourists and visitors toward Kelantan uniqueness. So there is a few main focus, which is Kelantan cultural heritage, Kelantan advertisement, and also visual communication and digital illustration itself. So there is a few literature review that I have been through this research, which is focusing on cultural heritage, tangible heritage, intangible heritage, visual communication, advertising in tourism, and the main is the digital illustration. All right. So by conducting in this research will be mixed method, which is include of qualitative and quantitative. So for the qualitative will be from the observation and data archival. For the observation will be consist of interview, participant observation, and also non-participant observation. For the data archival will be gathered through the literature review. And for the qualitative, will be conducted through survey, online survey questionnaire, and all the data will be triangulated by data triangulation, which conducting from the data cover, observation, and the online survey result. So the next step will be the visual analysis and data analysis, and move forward will be the finding, conclusion, and last one is the recommendation. So the research methodology activities basically will involve a few person that will be interviewed. First thing first, maybe we'll be conducting through the officer of Kelantan Tourism, officer from the museum, and also Jabatan Kebudayaan and Kesenian Negeri Kelantan. And the other person that will be involved in this interview, also expert in heritage field, maybe it's include from Wayang Kulit person, DK Barat person, and also Wau Bulan and so on. And to create a new approach of digital illustration, this research will be conducted by interview academician, illustrator, graphic designer, and also the public. All right, so basically I'm still conducting this research, and the expected result and discussion in order to produce the subject matter of Kelantan cultural heritage in digital illustration artwork. There is two type of image must be considered, which is vector graphic and raster image, or otherwise also known as bitmaps. Through the right visual by using digital illustration, the right message can be delivered to the right audience. Okay, the understanding type of different file format and medium is useful and successful communicate with the audience. Okay, as we can see here in the screen, there is two types, which is the first one is vector graphic, made up of paths, each of which has a mathematical formula that specifies how the route should be curved and what color it should be bordered or filled with. And the second type is raster image, made up of individual color pixel, and every color pixel had to create the overall image. So for the next one, we can see the different artwork or different digital illustration based on a vector and raster. So the first one is a vector graphic stylization of Wayang Kulit. So the creative may create high quality work of art using vector graphic, which have clear lines and form that can be scaled of any size. Simplistic or geometrical image such as geometric illustration, logos, icon, graph, and typography benefit greatly from vector graphic. So from the figure 1.4, the digital illustration artwork has been produced by using Adobe Illustration with the concept of WPOP, or also known as Weda Pop Art Illustration in geometric shape. So the second one, as you can see here, raster graphic or stylization Wayang Kulit. The same subject matter but different approach by using the digital illustration technique. When it comes to create rich and detailed visual, raster graphic are ideals. In a raster image, each pixel can be distinct color, resulting in a complex image with a wide range of hue and variation. From the figure 1.5, the digital illustration artwork has been illustrated in Adobe Photoshop by using brush stroke to produce the visual of Wayang Kulit. The brush used in Adobe Photoshop can be produced a tone color with detailed digital rendering. All right, so for the conclusion, this research concludes that use of the right visual in advertisement is really important as the first impression in order to promoting Kelantan cultural heritage. This research helped other researchers in the same area to study more details in the current visual trend by using digital illustration in the advertisement. All right, so cultural heritage, through this research, the researcher will contribute to make a new approach in conveying and deliver a subject matter of Kelantan cultural heritage such as Wayang Kulit, Wau Bulan, DK Barat, Menora, using digital medium in line with the digital era. All right, I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay, thank you to the Ms. Rosiani Mat Nasir, alias Muhammad Nasir, for your insightful presentation about preserving and promoting the Kelantan cultural heritage. I think I have one question for you.
Yeah, sure.
The heritage.
Can you repeat the question?
Is there any method for you when you are selecting those cultural heritage in Kelantan?
Okay, first thing first, I'm
Or
doing.
you just focusing on the most famous cultural heritage in Kelantan?
Okay, the first step, I'm go through with the online questionnaire. So based on the online questionnaire, I will provide a few selected cultural heritage such as wayang kulit, Dikir Barat, Menora, and a few other cultural heritage. And based on the questionnaire, I will evaluate which one is the most popular that people recognize about the Kelantan cultural heritage. And besides that, I'm going to the JKKN to do some interview to get which one is the most popular and which one is the most subject matter to portray the Kelantan cultural heritage.
Okay, okay. It's very interesting research, you know, when we talk about preserving, promoting cultural in every state,
Yeah.
and especially in Kelantan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for your whole information about your research.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, we are moving to our next presenter with the title The Struggle of Malay Woman in Andrea Hirata's novel Padang Bulan and Cinta Dalam Gelas. Please welcome Dr. Rabiatul Adawiyah Siregar from University of Sumatera Utara, Medan, Indonesia. Please welcome.
Sorry, I will present my paper in Indonesia.
Yeah, we couldn't hear your voice.
Perjuangan tokoh perempuan Melayu dalam novel Padang Bulan dan Cinta Dalam Gelas.
There's a technical issues. We couldn't hear your voice. Your voice are not so clear. Mike, you want to adjust your headphone?
Sudah?
Okay, okay.
Perjuangan tokoh perempuan Melayu dalam novel Padang Bulan dan Cinta Dalam Gelas karya Andrea Hirata. Latar belakang masalah adalah penelitian tentang masalah gender, mana dalam novel masyarakat Melayu itu mengandung sistem patriarki, lalu di dalam novel tersebut ternyata tidak secara general adanya marginalisasi, koordinasi, kekerasan. Nah, dalam novel juga digambarkan bagaimana kebiasaan-kebiasaan masyarakat Melayu itu yang dimana bercampur warung kopi dan makan berulang dengan
I'm sorry for interrupting you. Your voice are not too clear for us. We couldn't hear your voice.
Oke, bisa terdengar?
Could you unplug your headphone, then try again? Kalau ibu boleh cabut dahulu headphone-nya.
Sudah terdengar?
Iya Bu, ya sekarang jelas.
Oke. Kemudian metode dalam penelitian yang saya lakukan menggunakan penelitian deskriptif kualitatif dengan kerangka teori kritik sastra feminisme liberal, lalu dianalisis datanya dengan mengumpulkan data, lalu disajikan dan dilakukan reduksi, kemudian disimpulkan dan diverifikasi. Dari hasil didapatkan beberapa wujud atau bentuk perjuangan perempuan Melayu Belitung dalam kedua novel ini. Yang pertama sekali adalah perjuangan dalam bidang kehormatan, yaitu adanya mempertahankan kehormatannya, lalu menjunjung tinggi harga diri, membela keluarga, juga mewujudkan cita-citanya di mana tokoh perempuan ini Enong sebenarnya dia tidak tamat SD, tetapi dia memiliki cita-cita yang sangat luar biasa, yaitu menjadi seorang guru bahasa Inggris. Lalu dia juga menjuarai pertandingan catur, di mana catur ini tidak dibenarkan dilakukan untuk diikutkan kaum perempuan, gitu, hanya untuk laki-laki saja. Nah, lalu perjuangan dalam bidang ekonomi, masyarakat Belitung digambarkan Andre Hirata di sini adalah masyarakat yang miskin, maka pekerjaan orang tua Enong ini adalah kuli tambang, lalu meninggal pada saat terjadinya kejadian tertimpa tambang, lalu meninggal, dan Enong menjadi pencari atau mata sebagai perannya menggantikan ayahnya untuk membela keluarganya menafkahi. Lalu pekerjaan karena memang dia tamat SD dan tidak ada pekerjaan yang menerima dia juga sudah berjuang beberapa kali untuk melamar pekerjaan tapi tidak diterima, akhirnya dia menjadi pendulang timah perempuan pertama di masyarakat Belitung. Nah, dari segi perjuangan pendidikan, karena memang di sana juga tingkat pendidikan dan pekerjaan juga sulit, maka dia tidak berdiam diri, akhirnya dia melakukan kegiatan-kegiatan pembelajaran seperti les bahasa Inggris, kursus, mengikuti kegiatan tersebut, dan akhirnya dia menjadi juara bahasa Inggris. Mungkin terdengar ribut ya. Oke, nah hasilnya dia bisa menjuarai catur, lalu timah dan menjadi pendulang timah dan menjadi juara bahasa Inggris. Bentar. I'm sorry, saya lanjutkan. Kemudian kesetaraan gender yang bisa dilihat adalah marginalisasi. Di sini juga dia sebagai seorang perempuan akhirnya dia menjadi pendulang timah. Lalu terjadi subordinasi di mana perempuan itu tidak dibenarkan bermain catur, tapi dengan perjuangan Enong ini terjadi perubahan sosial. Akhirnya bisa perempuan menjadi pemain catur, dan begitu juga terjadi kekerasan di mana Enong ini, tokoh perempuan ini, sedari dia waktu bekerja dia sudah dikejar-kejar pria yang akan akan memperkosanya. Lalu stereotipnya perempuan itu tidak dibenarkan bekerja seperti laki-laki, apalagi sebagai kulit tambang. Nah, ini juga terjadi stereotip dan beban kerja yang luar biasa, sehingga dia bekerja menafkahi keluarganya. Akhirnya dia juga lama menikah, jadi menjadi wanita yang sudah usianya agak sedikit berumur, menikah dengan seorang Mataram, tapi ya kembali lagi dia juga dikhianati oleh suaminya karena kebetulan suaminya juga seorang laki-laki yang kurang bertanggung jawab. Jadi ya. Nah, dari kajian ini digambarkan bagaimana perjuangan Enong itu dengan kebiasaan masyarakat Melayu yang di mana masyarakat itu tidak membenarkan bermain catur. Nah, terjadi perubahan, yaitu catur sudah bisa dimainkan oleh perempuan-perempuan, dan akhirnya di dalam novel ini Enong ini menunjukkan sebagai seorang yang inisiator yang merubah dari yang tidak boleh menjadi boleh. Tradisi yang tidak dibenarkan akhirnya menjadi tradisi yang setiap tahun boleh dilakukan pertandingan siapa saja pesertanya, baik laki-laki dan perempuan. Nah, kebiasaan unik lain yang terjadi digambarkan Andre Hirata adalah pria-pria laki-laki di masyarakat Belitung itu selalu setiap hari itu minum di warung kopi. Nah, jadi terjadi perubahan yang juga perempuan tidak dibenarkan untuk ikut meminum di warung kopi, hanya biasanya suami-suaminya saja, istri-istri itu hanya membuatkan kopi di rumah, tetapi dengan peralihan perjuangan Enong, tradisi ini sudah berubah dan bahkan di Belitung itu sudah terkenal dengan tugu ini. Tugu ini adalah menggambarkan 1001 kopi. Jadi kalau kita jalan-jalan ke Belitung itu sepanjang jalan itu sudah ada warung-warung kopi gitu ya. Nah, yang berikutnya adalah tradisi ini tradisi dulang. Artinya nganggung, istilahnya nganggung. Nganggung ini makan bersama. Di mana pada masyarakat Belitung juga tradisi ini tiap tahun dilakukan, tetapi perempuan tidak dibenarkan juga untuk mengikuti kegiatan ini, digambarkan di sana. Hanya laki-laki, jadi perempuan itu hanya mempersiapkan makanan yang ada di dalam dulang ini, itu yang mereka siapkan, tapi kegiatan tetap para laki-laki. Nah, namun dengan perjuangan Enong ini, sekarang semuanya sudah setara. Jadi tiap tahun juga dilakukan, makan bersama, sama-sama hadir, sama-sama mengikuti kegiatan makan bersama ini. Nah, simpulan dari yang saya lakukan penelitian ini adalah jadi perspektif feminisme memberikan gambaran masyarakat Belitung itu yang memang memiliki budaya patriarkal yang selalu laki-laki dinomor satukan, perempuannya selalu dinomor duakan. Namun dengan perjuangan tokoh Enong ini terjadi perubahan. Dan Enong ini juga, novel ini sebenarnya ada dua. Yang pertama novel Padang Bulan, dan keduanya Cinta Dalam Gelas. Nah, Cinta Dalam Gelas inilah sebenarnya lebih banyak digambarkan Andre Hirata tentang bagaimana minum kopi itu. Nah, Cinta Dalam Gelas ini artinya orang tua Enong bagaimana cintanya setiap hari menyuguhkan kopi kepada suaminya. Nah, ini yang bisa saya sampaikan. Terima kasih, Mr. Muhammad Firdaus.
Baik, Bu Rabiatul Adawiyah. Ya,
Ya.
Very interesting topik, sangat menarik ceritanya berkisar tentang novel. Ya, ya emangnya novel-novel Indonesia ini sangat menarik untuk dibaca. Ya, and was a quite interesting novel to be read by both Malaysian and Indonesia. Ya, kita serumpun katanya ya. Terima kasih sekali lagi, Bu.
Okay.
Alright, for kesan permainan video atas talian terhadap golongan remaja. Please welcome Wan Nur Iliana binti Abdul Wahid from UCYP Malaysia. Okay, you may start your presentation.
Kejap Okay. Do you see my slide?
Yeah, okay, carry on.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wan Iliana binti Abi Wahid. For today, I will present my research. This is the effect of online video games on teenagers. Okay, I will go to introduction, which is online video games have become part of today's society lifestyle, particularly among teenagers, due to currently growing technology. Games are recreational activity that people engage in to have fun and fill their leisure time. They can be done alone or in groups. From Kamus Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka edisi keempat. Interactive electronic equipment that manipulates video to display video games that involve interacting with the user in creating images on the video equipment are known as video game, from Tikora et al. Also, Chen, 2040, said that on this visual world platform, players are allowed to socialize without boundaries, to be open and to do whatever they want. I continue. Adolescents from Zizi et al. Said that are defined as a group of people aged 11 to 21 years old who are in the process of transitioning from childhood to adulthood. This transition includes biological, psychological, social, and economic changes, as well as maturation from immaturity. From this statement, actually I don't have the right statement for the group age for this teenage, but mostly it's 11 to 21 years old. Okay, I will continue back. Teenagers who want something exciting and interesting at the same time will appreciate the variety of genres and realistic graphic displays. The disadvantage is that teenagers are addicted, which will have a long-term consequence if not addressed early on. Okay, for the objective, my main objective is to identify the effect of online video games on teenagers. For the sub-objective is to identify the effects of online video games on first, academic achievement, second, social relationships, third, emotions, and fourth, behavior. Okay, for my framework, my first framework, which is the effects of online video games on teenager. For my second is online video games, and my objective is academic achievement, effect of academic achievement, social relationships, emotions, and behavior. Okay, for my hypothesis, following the research of my hypothesis, H1 is I want to see if the academic performance will be affected from video online game, or H2, is it social relationship will be affected at online video game, and emotion. H4 is for behavior. Okay, for the literature review, the movement control order, or MCO, pace can be difficult for school kids. Then a small group of teenagers or students may prefer to spend their free time playing online video games. Interactions between human and computer, smartphone, and other devices that display visual movements in the form of pictures, text, and other visuals that are very similar to those observed in the actual world or classified as video game. By Dain Chikora Wadani and Adi Fahruddin. Okay, Richard Verdict told that games played over a computer network, such as the internet, are known as online games. Online games can range from simple text-based games to games with complex graphics and a virtual world populated by multiple players at the same time. From Crystal Subakti, she said that teenager reaction to online games are mixed. It will have a positive impact if the teenager utilize these internet games appropriately. Teenagers who misuse it, on the other hand, will suffer negative consequences as well. For Sharina Muhammad Siddiq, said that starting with the enjoyment of experimenting with online video game activity, their attitude toward this activity can accidentally grow into addiction. A relatively extended duration of MCO, if not handled actively, may provide room and chance for this problem to emerge. Okay, according to Ventura et al., games like strategy, riddles, and simulation games are more prone to environment that support individual creativity and intellectual growth, which lead to academic development. They only exist in their own world, according to Leung. Additionally, it has been suggested that children and teenagers who have never had a true social life are more likely to be lonely. In the most recent WHO, which is a World Health Order update, video game addiction was defined as a mental, behavior, or neurological development condition. This I get from article Astro Awani. Okay, according to Smehal et al., player behavior and character play significant part in video games. To addition, fans of video game will grow fascinated with their character in online game and aspire to their avatar or character in real life. Okay, my methodology for this research, I use a quantitative method and with two for my collect data, which is primary data that is from Google Form, and secondary data, which is article or internet and other. Okay, for the quantitative method, that is I use a Google Form to distribute the questionnaire, and the total of the teenager involved is 167. For this Google Form, I have 4 question section, which is B, academic achievement, C, social relationship, D, emotion, and E, behavior. Okay, finding and result. Okay, for section B, it is effect on academic achievement. Okay, from the table, from this section, I give to respondent 5 statements, and this statement, that is online video games, make me more focused on lesson, has a most dominant data. Okay, based on the table 5, the majority of respondents also disagree, which is total of 63 people, equivalent to 38%. This is because online video games have caused students to be less interested in learning. This is proven in the article Brain on Video Games. According to Michelle, student academic achievement was disrupted when they spent too much time playing video games instead of reading academic related books or coursework. Okay, for the section B, is the effect on social relationship. According for this section, I use 5 statement too, and this statement have a most dominant data, which is I spend less time with family, friend, other because of playing video game. Okay, you can see based on this table, table 6, majority of respondents agree, which is 49%, 49 people, equivalent to 29.5%. This is because the players are more isolated by playing online video games than engaging in a recreational activity. To strengthen this statement, Eka Rusnani state the players will go to any length to be able to play online video and only engage with the computer in one direction until their environment becomes limited and difficult to express themselves in real life. Okay, for section D, effect on emotion, which is among these 6 statements, sentence give is in this section. The above sentences record the most dominant data. Based on the table 7, the majority of respondents agree, which is a total of 74 people, equivalent to 44.8%. It is undeniable that every success will definitely bring satisfaction, especially to the player, as well as bring some impact in their life. This is evident in the statement Lafreniere et al. Extreme excitement causes players to play until they lose control. It is, we can say, commonly associated with the addiction. But a peaceful spirit is immune to such effect. Okay, for the last section, there is the effect on behavior. Among the 6 segments sentence given in this section, the above sentence said, that is, I am easily influenced and follow the violent action featured in online video game. Okay, this is the most dominant data too in this section. Based on the table A, the majority of respondents would say disagree. That is 59 people, equivalent to 35.3%. This because most of the respondents are those who already understand and can think well. This is based on health-wise stuff. Stated most teenagers have the ability to think abstractly, cope with multiple concepts at once, and imagine the long-term consequence of their action. By the age of 60 also, most of my respondents is from that age, that group of age. Okay, this form of sequential thinking continues to develop throughout maturity. In addition, according to David, violent video games do not lead players to become aggressive or can be influenced by individual changes, and aggression occur only in specific situations. Okay, my suggestion for overcoming this addiction online video game is that gamers or the teenager limit their playing time, which is if they play if one day play for 3 or 4 hours, so limit it for 30 minutes or an hour in per day. Okay, change the habit of playing online video game to board game. Play the game that doesn't use online game, but play just like Uno, chess that test your IQ, test your communication, interaction, such as like that. Okay, have a lot of activity with family or friend, just like doing the activity indoor or outdoor. Okay, make an agreement with the parent, which is you can make an agreement like if your result have a effect by playing video games, so you can tell your parents, so take it your gadget or something like that, so you will know that limit. Okay, lastly, be self-discipline, which is you know your limit, you control your not always follow your desire. Okay, for the conclusion, according to the study findings, teenager video game addiction has a negative influence and effect on the adolescents themselves, regardless of whether society is aware or not. To prevent the spread of this phenomena, all parties must work together with government and non-government organizations, because this symptom begin in childhood and last until puberty. This problem should be treated wisely rather than forcefully. As a result, it is hoped that this study will attract more participants in order to reduce the negative effect on teenagers. Thanks.
Okay, thank you to Wano Eliana binti Abdul Wahid for your very interesting finding regarding to the effect of online video games to the teenagers. I think this is a good research, and okay, keep up your research into this kind of topic and issues or phenomena, right? So
Thank you.
next we are moving to the next presenter with the title Local Wisdom in Ahmad Tohari trilogy novel Ronggeng Dukuh Paru. from Hidayati University of Sumatera Utara, Medan, Indonesia. Dipersilakan, Bu. Unmute terlebih dahulu, Bu. Tidak mendengar suaranya.
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, can.
Okay.
Alright.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you for the chance given to me. Yeah, I would like to give my presentation of my research titled Local Wisdom in Ahmad Tohari's trilogy novel, Ronggeng Duku Paru. Yeah. Okay. The background of research of my research are concerned with the first literary works as a means of representing the reality of social life based on experience and testimonies. And the second, the effort to foster a sense of nationalism and respect for regional culture as parts of the national culture. And the last is the existence of local wisdom in literary works that needs to be widely known. That as the objective of the study in this research is to reveal how the culture adapted and carried out by the local community has local wisdom that deserves to be preserved. And then to analyze how local wisdom in the forms of solidarity, mutual respect, and cultural identity were exposed in the trilogy novel Ronggeng Duku Paru. Ahmad Tohari is the writer of the trilogy, is an Indonesian writer and humanist, well known for his popularity either in Indonesia or foreign country. He was born in the village Tinggat Jaya Jatilawang Banyumas, it is Central Java, and has produced bulky volumes of literary works in the forms of novels, short story, and his monumental work is the trilogy novel Ronggeng Duku Paru. Tohari himself, in each of his writing, always talk about the life of the lower class and social problems, and also about rural nature. He never does not escape from experience of his village life and culture, which is clearly seen in each of his works. This shows that as an author, the result of his work are influenced by environmental condition and the society in which he lives, because an author is also part of society with various aspects of thoughts and feelings that are expressed through social class, work, love, religion, nature, and art. Trilogy novel itself, Duku Paru itself was first published in 1982, and it consists of 3 books entitled Catatan Buat Mak, Lintang Kemukus Dini Hari, and the third is Jantera Biang Lala. It is which were written in the period of 1982 till 1986. And this novel is the result of accumulated memories of reflections of Tohari's personal experience in his village. It is the cover of this novel trilogy Ronggeng Duku Paru. Let me see the. Okay, it is the next literature review. This is started from full of understanding of culture, and tradition becomes a part of culture. There is no community without a tradition, meaning that each and every individuals in community lives under the guidelines of culture. Traditions, according to Sukanto in 1990, is the spirit of a culture, making the cultural system solid, and if eliminated, there is a possibility that culture will end as well. Tradition is closely related to local wisdom, which means consciously or unconsciously, a community must have the concept of local wisdom inherited from the previous generation. Local wisdom, in a concept, in the form of ideology, that owned by community is then used as a reference in carrying out social life, with the aim of obtaining harmony with nature, with fellow members of society, and harmony leads to the welfare of social life. And here, this according to Sibarani in Manugaran in 2017, local wisdom is a part of values, norms of an oral traditions inherited from one another generation through oral ways. And for the research method, this research was conducted by means of descriptive qualitative methods, proposed by Miles and Habermas. I told this in the parts of 2014, and it is supported by phenomenological approach. Phenomenology approach is basically concerned with lived experience, having a focus on the experience, the perspective of participant. It is according to Georgie, 2012. Descriptive qualitative methods itself is commonly used in social science to describe the existing of phenomenon, and in this methods concerned with local wisdom in trilogy novel Ronggeng Buku Paru. And the data, the data here, it is taken from the text in the data source related to the terms of solidarity, mutual respect, and maintaining cultural identity. This the finding. There are 3 points of local wisdom in this research. They are solidarity, mutual respect, maintaining cultural identity. This as solidarity as a concept. Solidarity is both descriptive and normative. It is different senses refers in today to kind of connection to other people, to other members of a group, large or small. This one may also describe various micro phenomena such as action, motivation, and attitudes as more as or less solidarity. It is may be used to describe and explain the normal order and normative social integration in societies or communities, as opposed to chaos and conflict, and as opposed to order based on questions of maximization, of self-interest. It is from Latin in 2014. In essence, solidarity is the feeling of reciprocal sympathy and responsibility amongst members of group, which promotes mutual support. As such, it has subjective and emotional elements, and this helps to explain its conceptual thesis. Okay, so solidarity is associated with love or friendship private matter with individuals should be left to work out for themselves, according to Baker. And mutual respect here, this related to tolerance as a representation of mutual respect is an attitude of respecting of opinion or thoughts of others who are different from us. So as well as helping each other to living side by side, regardless of ethnicity, race, religion, and between groups. Basically, living in harmony and tolerance, among different members of society. This does not mean that one ideology and the teaching of another concept are mixed up. However, on the basis of living in harmony, the tolerance in group and social life, the tradition possessed by individual become cumulative and cohesive, which unites the diversity of interpretation and existing value system. And the last from the finding is maintaining cultural identity. This culture itself is one of the foundation of the country to open horizon of view of something. So culture has a central and fundamental function as the main basis for the order of the state, nation, and family. The country will be great if a cultural value have been rooted in the joints of people's life. The cultural diversity of the archipelago, this not only language but also dance, music, custom. So it is sustainability of arts and culture is a shared responsibility. Culture itself plays an important role in the progress of nation. The state advanced Indonesian national culture in the midst of world civilization and make culture an investment to build the future. So diversity of religion, culture is the wealth and identity of the nation that is very much needed to advance Indonesian culture. It is for in the midst of the dynamic of world development. Okay, at last, this is my reference, and I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you to Madam Hidayati from University of Sumatra Utara for your insightful presentation regarding to the Ahmad Tohari trilogy novel. Quite interesting novel to be read and a good presentation also. And we are moving to our next presenter with the title, The Effectiveness of Using Pahang Dialect in Advertisement. Please welcome Tengku Muhammad Faizul bin Tengku Abdul.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Encik Firdaus. Right, so today I would like to present my research title about the effectiveness of using Pahang dialect in advertisement. Before I further continue for my research, how do I start how do I get the inspiration to create this research title? Okay, it started in 2017. When the Pahang tourism introduced the year of visiting Pahang with a concept called Hogoh Pahang. Okay, so before I continue further, let me show you one video that represent the Pahang tourism to all of you. Okay, all right. So this is the sample of the advertisement that using Pahang dialect in the local which is some of it use the koi datang, gona nok melancong, hogo Pahang and hogo bera. Okay, as we know, Pahang is the largest state on the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia and the third largest state in Malaysia. It is known for a mountain, rainforest, and beaches, including the white sand and coral reef. The state capital of Pahang, which is Kuantan City, was declared by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Abdullah Riauddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah on 21st February 2021. The state of Pahang Darul Makmur cover an area of 35,965 square kilometer divided into 11 administrative districts, namely as Pekan, Kuantan, Rompin, Pahang, Maran, Bera, Jerantut, Temerloh, Raub, Bentong, Lipis, and also Cameron Highland. So, an anecdote if setting foot in the state of Pahang, Darul Makmur, is about the dialect. For residents here, the dialect of each district is influenced by its river currents. If the currents of the river is heavy, then the speed of his speech and vice versa. The extent of this anecdote is true or not known because it is not supported by scientific evidence. However, it is not a question because what is interesting nowadays is that the use of the dialect has begun to grow in advertising models in the state, either in the form of mass media or print media. The use of dialects such as Mohle ke Pahang, which originates from the district of Temerloh, or Sedak Popale, which originates from Kuala Lipis, and so on, among the dialects that are often heard and has now become a model in formation and feeling in advertisement, especially in the state. Therefore, this research or study is made by reviewing all the use of dialect in advertising model and the extent to which it is affect and influence the local community as well as those who come from outside Pahang. As the problem statement, when discussing the dialect of a district in each state, there are some constraints or problems that will arise, such as the understanding of the outside community of the dialect, public acceptance of the use of the dialect in an advertisement, and so on. It will, to some extent, affect sensitivity of the local community if there is a misunderstanding of the interpretation and style of the dialect spoken by an individual. It may be a joke to someone who does not know the real meaning that is being conveyed through the use of the dialect and can invite misunderstanding of culture among the local community. However, if modeled with an effective method and principle, it is able to introduce and raise the dialect of a district as a viral thing or issue on social media nowadays, especially among the younger generation, and it can give a unique identity to the formation of the tourism sector in Pahang Darul Makmur. Among the objectives of the study is the first one is to give awareness about the impact of using Pahang dialect language in advertisement throughout the district. And the second objective for this research is to make Pahang dialect as one of the Malay universal dialect comparable with other dialects state in Malaysia. And from there, two key research questions were addressed. The first one is, to what extent are people aware of the impact of using the dialect Pahang as accent in an advertisement? And the second one is, what are the people's perception in rating the importance? Next is the scope and the limitation of the study. Field research is used extensively to study the Malay Pahang dialect, which has been and can be used in an advertisement. Method used to collect data is from qualitative, such as interviews, survey, and case study. This research will go in-depth analysis of the effectiveness of Pahang Malay dialect as made by the 11 district council in Pahang Darul Makmur. The scope of the study is focused on the major city in 11 districts in the state of Pahang. And the scope of the study is to refine the use of the dialect and why the importance of the dialect to the tourism sector in Pahang to be one of the model in the advertisement. The significance of the study is, among the importance of the study is the first, it introduce a new advertisement model that use the dialect of a district as a factor to tourism in the district of Pahang, such as the Jawi script has been required and used in all advertisement in Pahang, as well as the Malay dialects. This will indirectly be able to bring the general public closer, especially in Pahang, enlivening the art of the state mother tongue itself. The importance of the study is also to make Pahang dialect is one of the Malay universal dialect comparable with other dialect states in Malaysia. People did not know about the purpose behind the Pahang Malay dialect, as they are used in not so widespread in various sectors, especially the tourism sector. Therefore, it is very important to raise this dialect as one of the unique features of our state of Pahang. That I'm using for the research is qualitative. As Kuantan is now already transformed from municipal to city, the qualitative method is used to observe visually the outdoor advertisement between Kuantan city and other districts of Pahang. This is important to look out the impact and effectiveness of advertisement in 11 districts. The observation will study the extent to which all districts in Pahang can be competitive in city line of advertisement. So the researcher will go all public relation division in each district council in the state of Pahang to conduct interview regarding of the effectiveness of the using Pahang dialect in the advertisement. So I think that's all for my presentation. I hope that this research can further introduce the dialect of the Pahang to the universal level, not only among the local community, but also to the outsider. So thank you for your attention. That's all.
Okay, thank you to the Tengku Muhammad Faizul bin Tengku Abdul Qadir for your presentation regarding the Pahang dialect in the advertisement. And I believe this is still in the early stage of the research, and we are looking forward to have relevant data and finding, and might be very insightful finding. Good luck for your research. So we are moving to our last presenter for today with the title Rekonstruksi Citra dalam Tenun Pahang sebagai Kearifan Tempatan dan Warisan Pahang. Please welcome Madam Nurbayanti binti Abu Bakar from UCYP Malaysia. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you for moderator, Dr. Firdaus. Are you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, okay. So today I want to present. So my name is Nurbayanti binti Abu Bakar. So my title is about rekonstruksi citra dalam tenun Pahang sebagai kearifan tempatan dan warisan Pahang. So melalui untuk tajuk kepada rekonstruksi ini adalah tentang latar belakang kajian ya mengenai tenun Pahang yang mempunyai lambang kehalusan seni tenun Melayu, yang diwarisi sejak zaman berzaman. Ia merupakan salah satu warisan yang terkenal yang dimiliki oleh orang Melayu Pahang. So tenun Pahang dihasilkan mengikut kaedah. So, tenun Pahang dipengaruhi oleh perkembangan sejarah dan budaya. Melalui perkembangan ini, citra dan kearifan tempatan mempengaruhi reka corak dan motif. Okey, melalui kedatangan Tun Tuan Krain Aji ke Pahang pada 1722, membawa bersamanya kemahiran tenunan kain daripada Makassar, Sulawesi. Seni warisan tradisi ini kemudian telah diwarisi dan dikembangkan oleh keturunannya. So melalui Krain Aji, kebijaksanaan penenun dalam menghasilkan reka corak dalam tenun Pahang diadaptasi melalui gambaran yang dirakam. So kita boleh lihat di sini adalah tentang reka corak dan motif dalam tenun Pahang. So reka corak dalam tenun Pahang mempunyai jaluran berdiri dan melintang, dan terutama sekali dalam tenun Pahang mempunyai motif bunga kecil dan berekor. Ini adalah motif dalam tenun Pahang. Kebiasaannya mempunyai motif corak bunga kecil dipanggil bunga cotek, menggunakan motif alam seperti bunga melur, bunga cengkeh, bunga cermai dan lain-lain dengan penambahan berekor di tepi sisi kiri dan kanan bunga. Reka corak dalam kain tenun Pahang dia mempunyai pemanis dalam tenun Pahang, iaitu corak sepik udang. Ya, apa yang kita lihat daripada gambar rajak ini adalah untuk kalau garisan ini dipanggil sepik udang. Kebiasaan dalam tenun Pahang biasanya mempunyai reka corak yang berkotak, berjalur dan beragi. Okey, apabila kita melihat kepada kajian ini, dia lebih kepada rekonstruksi ya, dalam proses mengumpul, menyusun dan membina sesuatu idea atau proses berasaskan pelbagai maklumat daripada pelbagai sumber. So rekonstruksi dalam tenun faham biasanya kita melihat daripada citra, gambaran yang dirakam oleh penenun. Apabila penenun itu melihat daripada citra itu dan dia melihat kepada kebijaksanaan yang dipanggil kearifan tempatan dan terhasillah reka corak dan motif. Okey, melalui rekonstruksi juga kita mengumpul dan mengkategori dan mengkualifikasikan reka corak dan motif dalam tenun Pahang, iaitu reka corak tenun Pahang asasnya, tradisionalnya, bangsawannya, olahannya, moden ataupun contemporary. Dan biasanya motif ada dua, sama ada tradisional, modern ataupun contemporary. Okey, kita melihat kepada pembinaan kerangka theoretical kajian. Yang pertama sekali kita melihat dari segi konsep Plato, iaitu konsep mimesis, peniruan kepada alam. Okey, apabila kita melihat kepada alam, kita penenun dia melihat kepada alam, terus dia merakamkan dan dia terus mereka corak. Okey. Dan kita melihat kepada Zakaria Ali, ya, dalam Zakaria Ali itu ada prinsip dalam estetika Melayu iaitu berhalus, berguna, bersatu, berlawan, berlambang dan bermakna. Melalui Kuzanzam, 3 nilai utama, berhalus, kesesuaian dan asli. Melalui Dr. Zul Haimi, 4 creative proses iaitu peniruan kepada alam, penggayaan kepada alam, dinetralisasikan kepada alam dan terus diabstrakkan kepada alam. Okey, melalui Yusuf Hasan kita melalui ada 4 iaitu luhur, lahir, logik dan lateral. So maka terhasillah rekonstruksi citra ya dalam tenun Pahang sebagai kearifan tempatan dan warisan Pahang. Okey, kita melihat dari segi pembinaan kerangka reka bentuk konsep kajian. Pada mulanya kita melihat kepada bagaimana penyataan masalah itu berlaku. Okey, melihat kepada tinjauan literature dan mengenal pasti RO dan RQ. Okey, sehingga kita melihat kepada analisis dokumen, dapatan dan juga pelaporan. Okey, 4 bahagian dalam hubungan dalam tenun Pahang iaitu adalah satunya adalah budaya. Budaya adalah masyarakat Melayu Pahang itu sendiri ya, daripada alam, peniruan daripada alam, dari segi kearifan tempatan dan juga reka corak dan motif. Okey, ini adalah model reka bentuk kajian. Okey, kita melihat kepada masalah kajian literature, kajian perpustakaan, kajian lapangan. So lebih kepada analisis, dokumentasi dan juga terus kepada dapat kajian dan pelaporan. So ini adalah contoh daripada kita pergi ke Pulau Keladi iaitu ada asal usulnya tenun Pahang. Okey, melalui kesimpulan kajian ini, yang pertama sekali kita melihat dan kita mengkategorikan reka corak dan motif dalam tenun Pahang. Itu penting kerana kita ingin tahu di mana yang asal, mana yang moden, mana yang tradisional, yang asas tradisional dan yang moden. Melalui gambaran citra, ya, kita melihat daripada bagaimana motif dan reka corak dirakam sama ada melalui peniruan daripada alam ataupun daripada kearifan tempatan itu sendiri. Dan akhir sekali selepas kita melihat kepada ketiga-tiga itu, barulah kita merekonstruksikan reka corak dan motif tenun Pahang dari yang lepas, sekarang dan innovation. Okey, so terima kasih untuk saya punya kajian.
Okay, thank you to Madam Norbayanti binti Abu Bakar for your presentation regarding to the rekonstruksi citra dalam tenun Pahang. It was quite interesting and insightful topics to be presented to us as a presenter today and participant today. So that was our last presenter for today's session. And thank you very much to all of the presenter for addressing the very interesting topic throughout today's presentation. And I will remind to all of the presenters and participants to stay in this room for the closing ceremony. Therefore, I would like to pass to my colleagues that will be your moderator for the closing session, Miss Siti Nur Iliana Shahari. So over to you, Yana.